When we get knocked down, it's important for us to have some resilience so we can get back up. And the goal is to become a person who can bounce back, a person that can, of course, be the person that can get back on their feet. So today we're going to be talking about resilience, and we're going to spend several minutes talking about why it's important and how we can be better at adapting to all of these changes. And there's been a lot of changes over the last few years. Now, change is something that's physical, it's external, it's something that's outside of us. We may not have any impact on whether it occurs or not. So it might be a new technology, it might be a new coworker, it might be a new site and more workload, less workload. And of course, we had the pandemic. Transition, and that's where resilience is so important, is more personal, it's more internal, it's more psychological, it's our worry, it's our concern, it's when we're upset, when we have a real thin skin. And resilience will help us to overcome those drivers of change. Now, when it comes to change, there's three key drivers of change: technology, information, and people. And when it comes to technology, it is said that well over 80% of the world's technological advances have occurred since 1900. It almost seems like 90% of them have occurred in the last 5 years. There's been tremendous changes in technology recently. So let's take a look at information. More information has been produced in the last 30 years than the previous 5,000 years. A weekday edition of the New York Times contains more information than a person was likely to come across in a lifetime in 17th century England. And then we have people. It took about 7 million years to get 1 billion people on the face of the earth, just another 130 years to get to 6 billion, and by 2050 they estimate there'll be 10 billion people standing around looking at each other. So we have more information getting to more people faster, more change, the more we need to be resilient. So those are the three key drivers of change, and so we want to make sure if you are going to apply resilience, we know exactly what it is. So if you were to look up resilience in the dictionary, it'd say something about our ability to recover quickly from some sort of a trauma. And if you were to take a look at the American Psychological Association, they say it's our ability to have some elasticity, the ability to bounce back, whether it's a personal or professional tragedy. And then if we want to take a look at resiliency more like a virtue, it's like we have a guiding philosophy of how we're going to go through life and how we're going to make our decisions. We have a set of values and beliefs and attitudes that we incorporate on a daily basis in all our decision making. So we want to make sure that when we face a challenge that we have plenty of strategies available to be resilient, to be someone that can be a role model that people will follow into fire when we're dealing with issues that cause people tremendous amount of stress. So consider a guiding philosophy for yourself. What is it that will help you take on all the challenges that you'll face personally and professionally? I was recently reading an article that they claim that about every 90 days or so, something tremendously tragic will happen in your life. So we need to be prepared with resilient strategies to overcome those challenges. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and go back to some former activities, some former events in your life that you used to enjoy to kind of establish that foundation again of moving forward. Also, some experts say that we should probably journal our thoughts so we can see the progress we're making and also review some of the decisions we've made. I always have found writing a goodbye letter to the things I really enjoyed and really loved about that activity or event, it really provides a value that it was important, and it should be recognized for its value and importance. So saying goodbye to the things we love, the things that we really did truly enjoy that are gone and will not be coming back. And I also like the idea of having kind of a blank slate reinvention. If you could start over in your career today, what would you do differently? And then we should probably get to work at doing those things. We were hearing earlier with the previous speaker about the future and being prepared for that, being future ready. And so I think if we were able to start our career over right now, how would you do it differently? And what would you do instead of the old habits and patterns and do something new? So we got to figure out what's actually changing for you, what's causing you to stall in taking action. It could be a dream that you had that motivated you so far. It could be the belief about your boss or the organization that has now changed. It could be the value that you had or believed in yourself in the organization and now it doesn't seem like you're as relevant. Could also maybe be the image you had of yourself, and now that is tarnished or different or never be the same. So I'd like you to invest in some relationships that you know are caring people, people that will support you and give you honest feedback so you can adjust and get through the changes. I'd also like you to consider what's controllable and uncontrollable. Write down a list and put a C in front of those things that are controllable. You have some impact, some influence, can do something about. Get them on a list today and get them done. Now, if there's anything else left on that list, you've just declared those uncontrollable. That's the way it is. That's life. Those are the cards you were dealt. That's how they played out. Life's tough. Tough for everybody. Get over it. How'd you like to work with me every day? But sometimes we need that clearinghouse question, is this controllable or not? I'd also like you to consider making small decisions to build your confidence in decision making and problem solving again. And maybe you could start out with a real simple decision model that helps you to balance logic with emotion so we make better decisions and kind of regroup. Also, I'd like you to invest some time in rediscovering yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses, and how we can maybe enhance both of those things to be better in our jobs and our careers and our families. And I want you to set realistic goals. Nothing sensational, nothing fantastic. Just simple goals that are straightforward, simple goals that are sensible, so we believe we have a fighting chance to reach those goals. But there's some mistakes we make in dealing with change, mistakes we make that kind of cripple our resilience, and one of those is joining the anti-change crowd, deciding simply not to change. But I learned this a long time ago growing up on the farm. It's a lot easier to ride the horse in the direction it's headed. I don't know if you've ever been on a horse that wants to go back to the barn. It's going back to the barn. It's an 800-pound animal. All you have is a bit and bridle. The more you slap it on the ears, the more you cuss and swear, more likely it's going to scrape you off on a tree or the barn door on the way in. So when your industry is changing, when your organization is changing, sometimes we just need to ride the horse in the direction it's headed. Sometimes people like to throw a pity party and they invite other people to attend and they talk about how helpless they feel and how hopeless it is. Doesn't make us very attractive as a coworker, certainly not attractive as a leader. And some people make a big deal out of little things. Big deal out of little things. I had a mentor in the 80s that used to call this pole vaulting over mouse turds. He used to say to me, Welchlin, make sure you stake your career on the big issues, the big problems, and let the petty stuff fall off to the side. And sometimes we disengage from our work and we have that self-talk that says I have to, or I must, or I should. Not very motivating. I get to, I want to, I look forward to. Changes our attitude, changes our actions. But I think the foundation really is we need to manage the stress. And when it comes to managing the stress, we need some physical remedies to burn up the adrenaline blood sugars. We need some psychological strategies so we can get our head on straight so we can take on those challenges. So I'd like you to be as well-fed, well-rested, and well-exercised. When it comes to well-fed, I'd like you to work into your diet some of those, what do they call them? Fruits and vegetables into your diet. You should have a colorful plate, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'd also like you to be well-rested, 7 hours and 15 minutes every 24 hours so the body can repair and restore itself. Also, I'd like you to be well-exercised, but you got to find an activity that causes you to move, to breathe, to bend, to put elasticity back into the muscles and ligaments, something you enjoy and something that's at your pace. Don't get caught up in those fads. I was just reading about this new fad where you crawl on the floor like a baby. It's supposed to strengthen your core, your shoulders, and your arms. I don't know if that works. Have you seen a baby lately? I don't know. They just don't seem that powerful to me. So you want to make sure you figure out an exercise program that fits your lifestyle. So it's not something you dread. It's something you look forward to. Now, we have to have some psychological strategies, too. So I'd like you to put together a list of past accomplishments. So put together a list of 25 past accomplishments from when you're a little bitty kid till now. Any award, certificate, plaque, trophy, ribbon, any acts of kindness. And put that on a list. And the next time you face a challenge or an obstacle at work, you pull out a list of 25 success stories where you're the heroine or the hero in every one of them. And you'll see this is just an opportunity to get something else on that list. And I want you to engage in positive visualization. Instead of imagining things are going to go bad, imagine things are going to turn out just fine. I have a little book in my library that claims human beings are successful 95% of the time. 19 out of 20 times what we attempt in our life, we do attain. Could you imagine going to the casino where 19 out of 20 times you hit the buttons and pull down the one-arm banded payout? That's the investment we get in ourselves. Leave a legacy of a good library. Wouldn't that be nice? And then alter your interpretations. Get in the habit of saying at least. Maybe things aren't going well at work right now, but at least I still have a job. Maybe things aren't going well in my marriage right now, but at least I still have a job. I mean, it could always be worse, right? And I want you to do positive affirmations where you say, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. You keep saying things like that, you could be a U.S. Senator someday in Minnesota, temporarily. And I also want you to invest some quality time just for you on your way to work, on your way home from work, where you can just idle down. And I also like that you could give yourself a nickname that you like, not the nickname other people have given you. Give yourself a nickname that you like. My nickname for me is Welchie. When I face a challenge, I just say, come on, Welchie, let's go. And it gives me that little psychological pick-me-up. It creates a little bit of a barrier that I don't take things so personally. So we want to work on our mindset. We want to make sure that we know our beliefs, our attitudes, and our values, and we have those guiding principles in which we make our decisions. We want to make sure we set our own goals and work towards self-improvement. We don't want to necessarily get strapped down or held back by our past experiences and others' images of us and other people's expectations of us. We want to make sure it's our life, our goals, and to be comfortable with that. So I guess the bottom line is this. With all these strategies I'm sharing with you, you can change your attitude in a minute. Now, one of the presentations I deliver quite often is a presentation on handling difficult people. I don't know, I've probably delivered that presentation in one form or fashion, 300, 400 times. And every once in a while, one of them will get under my skin. And when I head out to my car, I head to the airport, I pull out of my Franklin planner the list to get my head back on straight. This is a list of things I love to do. And if I have the opportunity, I'll do one of those right away. This is a list that I carry around of the things I'm grateful for. This picture here is my favorite picture of me. Look at that guy. He wouldn't be intimidated by any challenge. I remember that guy. He's still in here. And this is my favorite swimming pool I've ever seen in my life. It's beautiful. And then I have this little story in Casablanca. Peter Lorre asks Humphrey Bogart if he despises him, and Bogart says, "If I gave you any thought, I probably would." I love that. And then, of course, I carry the story about the frog and the scorpion, where the scorpion persuades the frog to take him across the river and stings him and kills him, and the frog says, "Why did you do that?" "Because I'm a scorpion, that's what I do." And then I go, "Oh, that's right. Person's a scorpion, that's what they do. Battle after battle, war after war." So what I'd like you to do is have your own kind of survival kit. Then people knock you on your back, knock you flat, that you can get back up. And in a minute, we can change our attitude. In that minute, change our entire day, maybe even change our entire life. And if I was an actor, I get paid to play a role. Guess what? At work, we get paid to play a role. Why not go ahead and be the role model? Take some of these strategies, make them your own, and become a person that can bounce back. And how about this? Why not become a leader that people would like to follow?